All right, let's get this bad boy started. So, am I too loud? Is that? Oh, okay, I feel very, okay, thanks. I feel very loud. ASMR. All right, so thank you for joining me today. This is Save the Elephant, Secure Your Postgres Database with TDE. Now, just to let you know, I am not a developer, and my developer that was going to do this talk with me couldn't make it. So this is a very high-level talk, but I do have contact information at the end if you want to get really technical, if you want to go to our GitHub, if you want to try the extension yourself. So don't worry, I got you covered, and I can hook you up with the right people. So, my name is Lorusso. I am the head of community at Percona. I'm a CNCF ambassador, CD ambassador, co-SIG chair of DOK, database on Kubernetes, and a part of the OpenSSF DevRel committee. I love including my daughter in my profile photo. That picture is much better of her than it is of me. She is very bougie, and we always seem to get upgraded. Granted, this was a 45-minute flight, but she had to have her orange juice, no alcohol for her. I'm not going to say there wasn't alcohol for me. So yeah, if you want to link with me, I'm still on X, Twitter, whatever. I know I'm holding on just because maybe things will change. And always, of course, LinkedIn, happy to connect. And please hit connect, not follow. It's a weird thing. All right. So today, the 3 T's, what are we going to talk about? So we're going to talk about a brief history of open source. I think it's always good to go back to where we started. Why security is important, why the PG TDE extension came about, and why now. So here's a quick refresher. So the world before open source, and I make the best slides, and if you don't recognize the sarcasm, I'm sorry. So anyway, so innovation was slow, and it was controlled by a few, right? So the expertise existed in the company that created the software, and if they wanted to jack up the price, licensing costs, you had to pay, because you had to pay to use what they were providing, because everything was behind closed doors. And I love this line, you're 100% reliant and constrained on the innovation you employ. I got that line from my SVP of engineering, and he was talking about back in the day, I mean, talk about a salary war, right? You want somebody, either make them sign an NDA or they're gonna leave because they're gonna get paid more from somebody else. And there was no transparency. You didn't know what was in the code that you were using. Anybody want to say S-bombs? So it was just completely like you were just blind faith trusting that this vendor had your best interests at heart. Maybe they wanted your money. So then what happened? Well, open source. What does open source bring to the table? Open source software. Number one, it brings innovation and collaboration, right? So good ideas become great ideas faster, right? You have increased flexibility to become customized to a user's needs. You have quality and security. You have other people checking what you're doing. Granted, there might be some security holes if you were at our talk earlier today, and maybe this talk, you'll understand. Accessibility, it's open to everyone. Everybody has a seat at the table. Then you have standards and interoperability, right? So we talk about different foundations out there. There's OSI, there is the Oasis, there are, even within the Linux Foundation, I forget what the standards organization is, but there are organizations out there that are trying to tell you what are the best practices to follow and the right way to do things. And then, of course, the economic impact. Has anybody heard of Red Hat? Right? Like, oh, you can't make money with open source, it's free. Again, has anybody heard of Red Hat? Like, don't we all want to be Red Hats? No, I work for Percona, so I'm very lucky to say that I work for an open source software company. It's the first open source software company I've ever worked for. I've always been on the other side. So it's really cool to be able to say everything that I'm saying to you today in an open, vendor-neutral way, because you can go on our GitHub repos, download all of our software, and use it without paying us a dime, right? We make our money on support and services, but we're not going to stop you from using our stuff, like giving us pull requests, creating bug tickets, all that kind of stuff, right? But if you need a helping hand, we're there for you. So who's involved in open source? I mean, do any of those logos look familiar to you? I mean, I would hope. So anywhere from governmental organizations, non-governmental organizations, huge companies like Google, small companies like Fidelity. That's a joke, thank you. It's a bad one, but it was there. So anyway, so it's all over the place, right? And so, but with open innovation, and yeah, I did say there was some quality and some security checks, we have the wild west of innovation. You have people and of development just clicking away at their computers, just doing what they want, just creating more and more open source for you to consume. And foundations and standards didn't always exist, so they're just creating stuff and you're just consuming it. Why am I using an elephant? Because this talk is about Postgres, and the mascot for Postgres is Slavic, and he is an elephant. And if you read my really lame abstract, you'll understand that we are now going to try and protect our elephant at all costs. So what is the current state of open source databases? So of the top 10 most popular databases, do you like my little database logo? Oh, it's so cute. Of the top 10, 5 of them are open source. And of the top 5, 3 of them are open source. So Postgres is the first. MySQL, SQLite. I don't have Elasticsearch with my little open source thing because they were, and then they weren't, and now they are again. Like, we're still not sure what they're trying to be. But again, of the top 10 most popular databases, thank you, developer survey, 5 of them are open source databases. But are they safe? Now this is where my wonderful colleague Jan decided to play around with AI. So welcome to the world of AI elephants. I couldn't help but use his library, so from here on out I apologize, but they will get cute and they will get weird. Thank you, whatever image generator he uses. So why is security important? Like, why are we all here? Well, let's do the math, right? So of the top 10 databases that are used, 5 of them are open source, so that's one number. But 99% of all software developed has open source components. You guys have seen these numbers, I'm sure, like multiple times today. And 85% of enterprise software has open source components. So we're using open source databases that has software that's developed with open source components, and enterprises are doing the same thing. So if you can imagine, and I'm gonna just say SolarWinds, how one thing going wrong can really affect a lot of things out there. So, see, audience participation, that shit, and he just left it. Sorry, recording. Okay, so what else does OSS bring to the table? And to your point, it brings bad actors. Oh, aren't they cute with stealing those peanuts? So they're just gonna creep on in, the little hamburglers of Postgres, and do bad things. So speaking of SolarWinds, so like supply chain attacks are on the rise. Now I know this might be a little outdated, but there was a blank increase in software supply chain attacks in 2022. Who knows the stat? You. What's the number? Throw out a number. 40%. Throw out a number. 70%. Someone else throw out a number. You guys? 220? You ready? Would you imagine if this was your raise? 742%. Can you imagine that kind of raise? Like, no offense, y'all, I wouldn't be standing here. I'd be like on a beach somewhere drinking a drink with an umbrella. Yeah, so there's a 742% increase in supply chain attacks. So what does that mean? It's the gift that keeps on giving. Open source is amazing, right? We consume it, we love it, we use it. But 1 in 8 open source downloads now pose known and avoidable risks. And this is thanks to Sonatype. They logged 245,000 malicious packages in 2023 alone. And this is what indicated that 1 in 8 open source downloads now pose known and avoidable risks. And going back to your guy in Nebraska that gets tired and doesn't want to like work on his project anymore, like this is why they still exist, right? Because he doesn't have the time, the energy, the effort, nobody's paying him, he doesn't want to do it. And guess what? You've already consumed his software and you don't even know like that he's done. So that is also why organizations like OpenSSF exist, right? To help you clean up the software that you're using. But we're talking about data here, right? We're talking about databases. So here are some famous data breaches. And I don't know about you, but I see hospitals on there a lot. That is scary. The other thing that I don't see on here, oh, public data. just public data. I mean, how many of you have social security numbers or, things like that? How many of you have received an email, and if you were in our talk earlier today, from just some random company you maybe shopped at once and used your credit card, and they sent you an email saying, I'm sorry, your data was stolen, but here you have 6 months of a free supply or free membership to this credit monitoring bureau to help you out. Have any of you had your identity stolen? I have. Somebody bought 2 tickets to Argentina, good for them, and also $300 worth of CVS goods, whatever that was about. But, it was a pain in the butt. Like, thankfully they used my credit card and not my bank card, because that's actual cash money. Credit you can dispute. Bank card, that's a lot different, right? So in the US, we have credit. If you were in a foreign country, maybe not so much, and you'd be up what creek. Can't swear. All right, so what can we do to help? So again, I said Percona is an open source software company. And our mission, and this is really cool, and it was just established in person last week. We were at an offsite. So I got to meet like 80 of our developers, and they all live and breathe this. And it was really cool to see the reignite of our mission, which is we believe an open world is a better world, right? Our mission is to enable everyone to innovate freely by providing the best open source database software, support, and services. Now, this is not an ad. This is just like the software that we work on. And if you see right there, the top row in the middle is Postgres. So what did we notice? We noticed something that was going on in Postgres, and we wanted to solve it. We wanted to solve this issue of securing a database, right? And so why is database protection important? Well, it ensures that if your device is lost or stolen, like nobody can access your stuff, right? How much stuff do you have on your phone? How many of you have the face thing enabled, right? Like how many of you also have like the side screen so you can't people can't just peek? Remember when it was just like code? Remember when someone could just pick up your Nokia and just run away with it and there was nothing that you could do about it? Or your BlackBerry for all of us back in the day. It's confidentiality. This data protection safeguards who you are, all of the things that you find sensitive, like, I don't know, again, your social security number, credit card numbers, all that kind of stuff, banking information. Risk mitigation, like data breaches cause the mining of your information, which can ruin financial reputation for the business, also for you. Again, if somebody stole your debit card and that was the last $300 you had, and then your mortgage auto drafts, and now you're where? Again, up this creek that we don't want to talk about with no paddle. Then you have peace of mind. It'd be nice to just breathe. How many of you go to the lounge at the airport, and I'm not trying to be bougie, but you're at the lounge, right? So you put your bag down, you walk away, you go to your buffet, you get all that food that you want because it's free. Would you do that in the main airport? Absolutely not. How many times do you hear the speaker going do not leave your bag unattended? So then you take all your stuff and you try and shove it in the bathroom stall. I mean, it's crazy. But you're in a lounge, you have that peace of mind that everybody spent their money to be in here, so I'm safe. Or what about when you go to the beach and someone says, hey, can you watch my stuff? I'm gonna go take a dip in the ocean. What? Now you're asking me to watch your stuff? Okay, I guess I won't take my dip in the ocean because you're gonna have to watch mine when you get back. Anyway, so there's that peace of mind. But the one thing that we haven't talked about is compliance, right? The money, compliance. So many letters. There's so many letters. I'm sure some of those are recognizable to you, like HIPAA, right? How many times have you gone to your doctor's office and before they even let you go in the back room, you got to sign all this paperwork saying, yes, it's okay to notify you by cell phone, by text message, auto message. You can say, yes, you can call my mom if you can't get in touch with me, or please don't call my mom if you can't get in touch with me. Woo, don't want her to know what's going on. GDPR, if you're ever signed your email away, on a website in Europe, you gotta make sure you're compliant. You gotta ask me if I wanna opt in. I can't just automatically assume that I'm opted out. All of these other compliances, when we talk about your business, look at this awful AI-generated image. Is security spelled right, Catherine? It is. Well, at least in the last one. I'm so sorry. It's amazing. Oh wait, security. There's security at the top, right? So anyways, so you want to make sure your company is compliant with all these things. Because why? What happens if they're not compliant and you get that email? Guess who's gonna spend the money? All of these things, if something happens, guess what? They have to notify you. They have to notify you that something happened. What does that mean? That means their reputation goes down. That means they're paying tons of money to fix this issue. And again, at the end of the day, you're the one that is in trouble because it was your information. So as much as the business is doing you a favor by giving you 6 months free of a monitoring tool that you'll never log into, come on, how many have you actually used it, right? Like, you're the one at risk. So if you could add an extra layer of security to your database, would you? Now again, we're talking about Postgres. So for us, we've got transparent data encryption to the rescue. Hi, he's so cute. So where's the protection? And I don't have like a pointer, but there's all these areas that can be attacked, supply chain attacks, right? Everything. What we're saying is TDE protects your data on its server. It encrypts itself. So even if they get at all this other stuff, they can't get at your data. So my shirt, which is cute, right? It's an elephant. It says, dance like no one is watching, encrypt like everyone is, right? So you can go out there shaking your thing, having a good old time, because you're locked down. So while all this other stuff is getting infected and files are being stolen and who knows what's happening, your data is locked in on itself, and it's good to go. So we're like, yes, we can do that. We can solve that problem. Let's make this happen. Let's make this happen in an open source world. Let us make Postgres more secure for everybody, for the community. And that's a key there, for everybody, for the community, because again, we believe an open world is a better world. And open source is all about innovation, coming to the table, everyone comes, everyone's equal. Well, guess what, y'all? TDE exists, right? It exists for Oracle database, for MySQL database, Microsoft SQL Server, MongoDB. But guess what? None of these are in the community editions. You can't just go download these databases and be like, I'm protected. They say, pay us money. That's not fair. That's not cool. That's not like living the open source world. I'm not saying there's anything against them. Like, good for them. But for us, we want to give everybody a shot at having that extra layer of security built into the community edition. So why TDE in an extension? Well, there are multiple factors for this. Okay, so the Postgres community, like any community, has a governing body. And so you gotta do what the governing body wants. And so they've tried a couple times to include TDE in the core, but you know what? It didn't work the first time. There was too many patches, lots of disagreement about how they're gonna work things. I mean, this is open source, right? Everybody has a voice. Everybody can come to the table, and what you're supposed to get is cohesion, and there was none. Then they say, oh, cryptography extensions don't provide this, and blah, 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 and it's too impactful to the community. We don't want it. It's not gonna work. Again, we're trying to find a better way. So we said, all right, we hear what you got going on. Too many tools in the toolbox right now. Like, how can we sort this out? Well, we're gonna do what the community wants, and we're gonna follow the community guidelines. So there's a wiki page that focuses on TDE, which emphasizes 3 criteria, and this is what we decided. And that QR code goes to a blog post that was written by our product manager for Postgres. I invite you to read it. It tells you how the sausage is made and how the team came to this decision, because they could have patched or forked Postgres and just gone off on their own. But then what is that? That's another version of Postgres that, while it's open source, it's not in the community edition, then you have to use ours, and that's not who we are at our core. So we're like, all right, we're gonna make an extension. So we're gonna follow these things. So it's gonna be secure, it's going to have minimal impact on the rest of the code, and it should meet regulatory requirements. And with that, what do you get? You get PGTDE. So again, it's an extension. It's not part of the core. So you can try it now. So if you use Postgres as your database, you can go to that page, you can download it, you can install it. We would love for you to test it out, give us feedback. What we're really looking for is adoption. We want you to try it in the wild, like see how it works. How much safer do you feel? How much more is this a boon to your customers, to your own company, knowing that you've got this extra layer built in? We want you to talk on the forums about it. We want you to just sound the alarms. We're not saying we're trying to push it. We're trying to work within the guidelines. And if it doesn't get accepted, that's okay too, because you still have it accessible. See what I'm saying? Like, we're just trying to keep it open, and we're trying to help in a little way secure Postgres. Because again, it's like the most loved database. So it's a super important encryption method. There's technical reasons for it. There's non-technical reasons for it. I'm sorry I'm not digging into all of them. Again, this person is not here to really get into the weeds. But it's available, and it's a win for everyone. And that's our key factor, right? That it's a win for everyone. Because if we go back to here, these are not wins for everyone. This goes back to like that first slide. Vendor lock-in, no freedom, no choice. You have a choice. You have a choice to pay or to not have that extra layer of encryption, that extra layer of security. So it's literally on you. We're just saying we think we found a better way, and we want you to try it out. And if maybe you think it's a better way too, we want you to talk about it. We want you to share why you think it's a better way, because then maybe we can get to the core, get those maintainers looking at it again, have them test it all crazy, and they can say, you know what? Granted, this was started back in, what year? 2016. 8 years have gone by, lots of innovation has happened, and you know what? We do think that you found a better way. Why? Because you followed our guidelines. Again, this is about community, right? This isn't about being the big man in the room. This isn't about like saying, look at me, look at me. This is like, no, 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 no. We looked at what you want. It's secure, minimal impact on the rest of the code, and it meets regulatory requirements. So if we're following your methodology, please give us a shot. And I say this, and there's PGConf Europe happening right now in Athens, and we're making the plea there too, just to try to get actual Postgres users interested in trying something new to see if it works. Because again, number 3, the most important thing for us is that it's a win for everyone. Like, I've never worked with a team of developers that are so core to the foundations of open source that it kills our marketing department. Do you know what I mean? They're like, oh, we can sell this, we can sell that. And they're like, nope, nope. I mean, the battles are legit, and it's actually quite fun. I'm like eating the popcorn just watching. Because I'm in community, and we live in engineering now, so I don't have to worry about leads. So what can you do? You can contribute. Feedback, again, is what we need. So go to our site, try it out. If you know of a company or a friend of yours that just likes to fiddle around, go, try it out, see what you think. Let us know, is it as safe as we think it is? Is there a bug? Is there something that you realize just doesn't quite work? We want to know, we want to fix it, let us know. When I said that I've got people that, that's Jan. I mean, literally, it's like I drew it. It's a stick figure, obviously. So anyways, so for more technical info, you can talk to Jan. He is amazing. See that guy? He's so happy. He just wants you to help. Or we have a beta for another version of TDE that has index encryption on top of that. So that's like super crazy. But contact us. Let us know what we can do to help, or if you find it valuable. And with that, I know it's super early, but do I have any questions? Yes.
I mean, obviously, TDE has been around for a long time. There's more building community. Typically, you're working either at the column or so key agents. Well, at the broadest level, how is this different from encrypting the underlying storage layer for compliance purposes? Because any of these systems are inherently vulnerable to key leaking or encrypting Oracle attack, where you get the database to decrypt the data for you, such as a SQL record.
How did I know that you were going to talk about a slide that I deleted? So we can talk after, and I'll show you, but again, it's so technical. You guys want me to talk about key encryption? No, let's not go there. But I will help you, and I will show you.
So if you we have a really great law, right?
Right.
Great law. But we have an online system that we're communicating with at computer speeds. That means that key is resident in memory to encrypt and decrypt. So typically these encryption at rest really only protecting against the data at rest being stolen.
Hold.
An online attack.
Okay.
I'm not clear a priori, I'm sorry, that's a right. I'm not clear at the start that a TDE approach is inherently
No.
than
Okay.
using encrypting and storage.
Okay, so this is where my buddy that didn't show up because he couldn't make
Sorry
it.
about that.
No, it's fine. So, okay, so yeah, so I can't see what I'm doing. So what I will say is like, come talk to me after I get down from this beautiful stage and I can show you what you're talking about. And then again, I will give you the, I highly recommend you contact my buddy Jan because he would love to talk to you about this because this is actually what he wants, right? This is what you want as a community, this is how you want as open source. Question everything. What are you talking about? What is that? Doesn't make sense. Okay, you don't have the right diagram. Like, what are you? You got this hack up here. Like, she doesn't know what she's doing. No, that's what I'm saying. No, but what I'm saying is like, that's what makes open source open and amazing. Everybody has a seat at the table, everybody has a right to an opinion, and everybody should have a discussion about it. And that's why you should try it out. And that's why what you're saying I think is absolutely valuable, and I'm sorry that I can't answer your question.
Because what I think is going to happen is, and maybe this isn't in there, is that in the typical use of a open source relational database, which is, it is the primary data source that is fronted by a web application, a multi-tenant web application, you're going to have a multi-tenant key solution that ends up with the connection for a particular authenticating context to then be being used in the database. Otherwise, it's nice, it maybe checks a box, but it doesn't move the cheese very far from a dog.
Move the cheese.
I'm trying hard not to.
I'll count in cheese and say cloud multi-tenancy, and what if the database is in a repository that is not managed by you?
Okay.
Make sense?
No.
So-
Again, I'm trying to go back to how does the typical Django application, how does the typical Ruby on Rails application,
All right, hold on.
how does the typical Node application make its database connection? It's ultimately going to have a connection point. It's going to connect to the database, create a credential, and now that credential typically has access to, but
So we need more information about the extension and how it functions.
Yes. Thank you. And so I did pull up his slides. And so there are, I think, the points that you talk about. And again, I can't say it anymore. Like,
I legitimately get cloned the project, so I'll be able to look at that.
sweet. That's all we want. That's amazing. And again, questions, conversations around this are huge for us because, yeah, he's like when I say Jan likes AI, like look at that. His talk is called "The Elephant Has No Clothes." So it's about encryption and being naked. Yeah. So anyways, any other questions? Yes.
You mentioned that the extension is not in core.
No.
Is there any plans to once it's evaluated and it has improved in adoption that you want to be Postgres more?
So that's where we're at, right? We're at the phase where it's an extension because we follow in community guidelines and we need people to adopt it and to try it so that then we can try and submit it for the core. Like we can't go at it alone. We can't just say like, this is what we think. We want to make sure we have the people behind us, the data behind us, the testing behind us to make sure that when we do submit it, it's like, again, a very good stringent conversation, but that we have proponents that say, hey, we've used this, is actually like, yeah, we want this. Like, we want to have this extra layer of security. Yes?
Branching on building on the question or taking it from a different angle, do you have scenarios where this is a better tool for the job? Because I have similar questions to what this gentleman just raised. Why not encrypt the whole disk as opposed to the database? If we can only do it on a per database level instead of per connection level, that sort of thing. Do you
Jan? Yes. I mean, again, I don't mean to like fluff you off and keep pushing you off to him, but like this is the fear of giving a technical presentation without the technical resource behind you, is that I can't give you all the answers, but I can point you to the guy that will give you the answers. And I guarantee you, he just sent me a message on Slack and wanted to know how it went. But like, amazing, you're gonna get lots of questions, look at your email. So yeah, no, this is the kind of stuff that they live for, right? As developers, they want you to ask the hard questions. They wanna show you the use cases. They wanna say, oh God, we didn't think about that. Maybe this is something that we should add in. And that's the land of development, no, right? Like, that's why we're here, is to learn more, learn from each other. How many projects are at OpenSSF trying to solve problems in different ways? So yeah, yes.
I think both the questions come down to the use cases, right? Having that well defined and documented. But my question to you is, if you guys, or you don't have access to a use case, illustrate with us, how is the testing done to make it clear this is actually going to be a useful thing? Do you have any questions on that?
So we have a QA team, we have testers, so we've got what are called tech leads, and their job is to make and break things. Well, not make things, their job is to break things. Their job is to go through the use case and see, oh, okay, no, you guys missed this and you missed that. And so we highly test everything that we do. And you know, I think this is great because this presentation is going to be done quite a bit, not this one, but great feedback to say, add in the use case so people can actually see what you're doing. And also show us how you're testing this, because you can make claims, but like, let's see literally how the sausage is made. Like, where's your testing? What is the run through? What is the risk? All that good stuff. I love it. They're gonna love this. I'm not being sarcastic, I'm being serious, because they've worked on this for 2 years. Right? 2 years. And so they're gonna keep working on it. But the goal is, again, to be accepted into the core. And without having answers for the questions that you're given, like, who's gonna be like, yeah, no, thank you, but again, back to 2016, you're not doing what we asked. So, okay. Anyone else? Yes. It's locking down your data so that they can get at everything else but that. Like, so it's locking down your, like, I think that's what you're asking, like.
Yeah, so both like Aurora, for example, like Aurora, you can encrypt that at rest, right? With AMS. But the PGT is basically needed, like internal to the right?
I can't hear you and I don't know, so I will send you to Jan, and I don't mean to be, again, unable to answer these questions, but I just cannot. So with that, I see my man's coming up here, so I think it's the next session. I hope you guys found this at least a little bit useful. At the worst case, I think for sure you all are gonna be pinging Jan to get the answers to your questions. If not, please link in with me, and then I can get you the answers to your questions and build out a better presentation, because I think that's what we're all here for, right? To learn from each other. So thank you so much.